Uh, that's what I just click it now. It doesn't record it.
Yeah, okay. Maybe
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Anyway, please, in case I forget next time, please let somebody remind me. Thank you so much. We've lost that. We can't recover that back again. It's all right. Okay. We're gonna start with validating scope, getting formal acceptance. So I was talking about a time about or keeping a change log. Most of Canadian company call it trend log. That's the language that they use here. Just quickly, I don't need to delete this. Just a moment. Yes, I need to delete that. Just something I use in the office. Uh, uh, okay. Okay. So, it's just a simple thing, nothing confidential. Um, Basically, it's you capturing what is happening, keeping note of things. This is very important. We call it trend log, we call it change log. You could expand it to suit your project, add more columns to it. It's just a spreadsheet just to capture things. You know, Here I'm putting different departments because that are working on the project. That's what this is all about. How it just depends on what your project looks like, how you want to kind of structure the changes. So these are all changes that are structural. If you're working with the pipeline now, I'll put maybe pipeline. If it's a project management issue, I'll put it the category. Now I describe what the change is there. You know, yeah, I'm saying VG requested for foundation footprint for the pipe bridge for permanent impact. Mail sent by this person on April 1st. You know, they requested because this is a time and change materials. Now, this request is going to take time for somebody to put it because it wasn't part of what they initially asked us to do. So I documented that. Now, here I'm putting a effort hours impact. If there's an effort on your impact, I'll put it there. I've not been able to evaluate the cost of this. I'm still talking to the person doing it. I'll put it there, and if there's a schedule impact, you put it here. Basically, you're just documenting these things. And this is part of something you share with the client on a weekly basis. So the clients are seeing this thing, whatever is happening. So it's important that you keep this log and keep it. It's a communication tool. It's part of your reports that you send the client. If it's on a weekly basis or monthly basis, as you might have agreed at the beginning or in your change management plan. So it's important that you keep this. This is very, very important. The another thing I want to share is before we forge ahead. Let me see. Uh, I want to see something like looks more like a conversation. Okay, let's look at this thing. Now, this is a project that was already ongoing. Um, Client came back with some comments. So usually when client come back, you have something to document, uh, and a lot of comment came back. So the ideally what you do is document all of those comments in a spreadsheet. So I was the one who pulled all of these comments. There are so many. Does these are few of those comments. So I have 26 comments listed here. Now, our response, I'm putting uh, response here. Uh, uh, Company response. So this is the client comment. Let me put it there. Can we all see my screen?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. I'll take a question, Sister Joke. So client comment, all of the client comments are here. Now I'm providing all my own response. Yeah, to all of the client response. Do I need further clarifications? Whatever we think about that, we'll put it there. If something that we have resolved, we'll put it there. So these are our own response. So resolved. I'm tracking it. Yes, no, yes. There. So I classify it. Oh, this is a minor, is major. This is just for to show urgency or things now might not put it there if you like, but it's not a compulsory one. I just put it there to show okay, this is a minor thing or it's a major thing. And the reason why I call it major or minor sometimes because that request might involve time, budget, or maybe something that is not out of scope, that is out of scope. Now, so what the client has come back to tell me, say within current scope of work, SOW. So I'm identifying all of those comments. I'm checking it against, okay, this thing that the client is commenting about, is it part of what we agree with the client? So you can see no, no, yes, is there. So, and I'm also putting, uh, see further response. So this response came after we have had meeting. We have some meetings, some response were put there. Now, so the client, I send it back to the client. The client also put, their own comment back here. They put some other comment. So this document became a working document between us and the client to respond back to on that project. So they might decide to add certain things, put some things there. So this is how you keep things in shape. I'll keep it in shape. Don't forget this document came. This report came back as is a document that was sent to the client on what they asked us to do, and we have divided. And they made comments on those documents. Bunch of different reviewers made comment, and there was one I would love to show. Okay, I'm not showing that here. So usually, what I put is that I put another column here, and I'm putting the name of whoever commented that. If different people are commenting on that document, I'm putting all of their names here to show the name of the person that commented on that from the client side. So this is how you kind of carry things along. And I put here this is out of scope. The client will come back and ask question. What do you mean by it's out of scope? What do you mean by it's not out of scope? So this is where your scope management is very, very important. And I can tell you this thing. If I up to now we have not resolved this, because there are certain eventually, of course, because we have this was and because this was another project that I took over in the middle. The scope was not fully defined, and because it was not fully clarified and framed, because there was a working relationship between my company and this company. We are a consultant, and usually they don't develop the scope. So they will tell us what they want to do. We will not develop the scope for them because they don't even understand the real scope of the work. They just look, okay, we need to get permit. Oh, we want to cut trees. For you to cut trees, there are certain things that must be done. They don't know it. We are the one who know the regulations, the laws. So based on what they want to do, we'll not develop a scope. For you to cut the scope, this has to be done, this has to be done. So there was just understanding working relationship between the client and us, and they were feeling like, okay, we just work in the sense that whatever we tell them to do, they agree. And that has been working for years, honestly, because we are the professionals who understand it. But this particular, some other people have joined their team and they were trying to force things down our throat because all is because of budget, because we're asking for extra more money and they can't go back to their organs to ask for more money. So they want to be forcing things down our throat. No, you guys should have known this before. So this is where scope is very important, and we drag this for a very long time. There are certain things we have to what we have to do ourselves. We have to do ourselves. I think if I can capture that, I think there was one statement. We have to do. We have to just take the cost. Because it was getting to a situation whereby we're just saying no, no, this. So, we okay? Can you see? Can you see where I highlighted here? Can we all see this?
Yes.
What? So what is there? Can somebody read it out?
Why do we want to mandate?
No, this place.
Aaron said this could be revised for free.
Okay.
For free. Can you see that? So that's part of the. We just feel like, okay, let's just do this for free. We're in that meeting and the director was like, hey, Shogun, please, let's do this for free. Because a lot of no was just coming, no argument here and there. And this is the problem. Why I brought this on? Because this is the problem because scope was not. We had an understanding, working, seemingly kind of relationship with the client because we are consultant. We'll do this. Okay. One will submit report and they'll be like, no, that wasn't part of what we doing on this one. And they'll be like, okay, can you add this to it? And we'll say, okay, no problem. Why did you tell the money they asked us to go? So that has been how things have been working. But these people came and they just want that, like, no, you must do what you agree. We think these are, and because scope was not really framed. exclusion was not shown, assumptions were not shown, and nothing that anybody could really point to becomes a problem. So between us and them, and this is a very big client, so we have to really manage the relationship ourselves, bite certain things, but there's a limit that we also feel that, okay, you guys should know that this is not possible. You can't tell me that, oh, build a house for me. You want to build a house, and you are saying $100,000. Everybody know that $100,000 cannot build a house. You understand? Everybody knows that. There are certain things that we expect you to know that you can, even though things are not framed up. So we're working that, and I will not be like, no, that is excessive. Even though there something was not really framed from the beginning, you cannot go to that extent. You should know, as a professional, that this is not, even though it's not written, and that's why assumptions in your head, that things you think that people should know, must be written down. Very, very important. I cannot emphasize. I need to spend more time on this so that you will know, because as we go into, so that you don't. One of the pitfall you might fall into as someone who's just coming to project management is to start accepting things just because you want to make client happy, and at the same time you don't want to say no so direct, so that you don't destroy relationship. There has to be a balance you have to maintain. That's what call you a manager, project manager. That's what makes you a project manager, to manage things. Things are not written sometime like it's not, there's no fast rule to it. You understand? No one rule or one cap fit it all in project management. So you just have to understand certain principles and how to manage relationships. So this is very important. This is a live document. We are still, in fact, I think we've reached a level of agreements, just waiting for some clarification from the client on this. So I just thought I should show up that before we ride on. Okay, Sister Joe, can you please ask your question?
Oh, okay. It's the trend log that you showed. I
Okay.
don't know if you can go back to it.
Okay, sure. Why not?
Okay, so I noticed, I just wanted to ask, because normally when there's a request, it's also meant to be documented. How do you account for that? Because the normal change log I'm used to, that I've seen, it has all the requests and it shows maybe it was rejected, approved, or maybe in progress. But this just shows kind of everything that has been approved. So how do you account for other ones that were requested and were not approved?
So, like I said again, so it depends on the kind of project that you are running, and you can always adapt uh what you the change log you are keeping or the change log you are keeping to one. Let me see if I can get uh there's one that let me get another one. So usually it depends on the project. So this one now is more of an internal use for you to uh capture all of the changes that are coming into your project. So trend log. Okay, let me kind of also just expand a bit about the trend log and the change log. So trend log is more of an internal use, but it's also something that the client can be using with the client. But for maybe much bigger projects, uh, or let's just put it just generally this way, trend log is internal. You use the internal to capture all requests, and every kind of request, like I said, every kind of request, either small or either big, you capture it on your trend log. So it is not every change that you communicate to the client, that you show in your change log, because it might be so small. You understand? It might be so small that the nuance of project does not require you to start telling the client. Maybe the change is a $10 change or $30 change or $40 change. You don't want to start, talking about that. You sound, if you understand what I mean, it's not all of those little things that doesn't really matter, but you must document it. Why we document it is because if it's a bigger project that's going to last for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you find out that those little changes will now amount to something very big later. It could amount to something very big later. Then you cannot come back to your trend log, and because you have it documented, and there are evidences to it in your emails and stuff like that. You can now accumulate it later and let the client know, hey, we are over budget by $5,000. And why? You just tell them, oh, little penny here that have come, and you begin to, by the time you mention 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ways of it, the client already knows. Like this happened on this day, this little we didn't tell because it was manual, but as it stands right now, this looks so, the cumulative of it looks so big. Now, I'm going to show us something what you just meant. Like, sorry, I should have just I was trying to do another session on change management, and I'll bring something in. Let me just quickly look at my document here that shows what we exchange between the client on weekly basis in terms of what has been accepted and what is pending. And that is where, things that we have sent to the client, basically, that's what you now show accepted or approved. Because this is internal, so I won't be showing accepted or approved. But what we communicate to the client, like, okay, in my where I work, we have a policy whereby you are trending every change that's happening on your project. Now you are checking the cost. When the cost gets to 10% of your total project value, your PO value, at that point you initiate what we call a change order. You send a change order to the client when it gets to 10%. If you're not up to 10%, you don't send a change order. You just keep looking at it. Because what happens is that at the end of the day, you might, for time and material project, and this is for time and material project, you might end up not needing that change order because you might finish the project and you find out, okay, I don't need to ask for more money because with the money that I have, I've been able to finish the project. This is how you manage time. It's not every money you request from the client. And I need to take note of that again. It's not every little penny that you ask your client from the client. You don't want to sound like a company that is all about money, 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 money. You must remember what I first said in the first time, acknowledge change. Put yourself in the position of the company. You don't want to appear like a company that is all about money. Just give me 1 minute, and I'm going to show us something in 1 minute. 1 minute, 1 minute. Just to address quickly what Joke is asking us. Thank you for that. I thought I was going to handle this better on the other change management generally, but I think since we're already here, it's just good we talk about it while it's fresh. Okay. All right, just a moment. Let's make sure I don't have sensitive stuff here. Just a moment. Okay. All right. Can you all see my page here? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So now what I'm showing right now is a bit different from what I showed you now. So now this is a report that is sent to client on weekly basis. Here shows a cost report, and the plan that I was going to discuss this in detail when we start cost. Show all of those things. So I won't jump ahead of this. I'm going to show this thing again. Now I'm showing the budget. Since I will show us, where we are in terms of spending. I'm showing cost, where we are. Percentage progress, cost spent, percentage progress. We're going to discuss. Don't let us jump to it. But this is what we are talking about right now. Now, what Sijoke asked. So these are, first of all, the change order number. Who requested it? Is it the client that requested it, or is coming from us? We initiated the original contract, new scope. Is it a new scope? Is it an addition? Is it an adjustment? Is it a scope adjustment? You are putting it there. What is the summary of that change? The date was requested. Impact on schedule. You are putting there. Is it to be determined? Okay, we need to look at it. Look at this one. Says, for example, impact on schedule. Says no impact. Impact on cost. We are putting the amount that is there. We've calculated this. So there's another So impact or cost, this 170,000 isn't just arrived at it, just like that. There is another schedule that will show you the breakdown of how we arrive at this 172,000 you're going to provide to the client separately. So, but I'm putting it in here, imagine that this is the cost. Now, as it be approved, so that's what it's saying is approved. You can say it could be cancelled. It could, okay, I've not submitted it yet. I'm still working on it. Pending approval. You understand? You're showing it all is on hold. You can say so, or maybe it's approved. So that's what she's saying here. So for a change log, so you can see there MOC log is there. What the other one is a trend log is just a general thing that captures everything. Sometimes that might not make it to your MOC. So in Canada they use this a lot, the trend log a lot. So you understand they use it a lot. Does this make a sense a bit? Or do I need to
Yes.
explain? Right. So basically, in summary, the trend log is internal. Internal in the sense that it captures every change. Things that are small, things that are big. Because like I said again, it's not everything that is small that you communicate to the client. And everything that nuances that is happening on the project is what you are communicating that later you might fall back to. That will keep your memory fresh. Okay, this is, and the ones that are significant, you want to communicate them. And before you put anything here, honestly, you don't just, part of your project management skill is that before you put anything here to the client, you must have discussed it. I repeat that again. For this 172,000, there are communications that will have gone ahead, like that role play that we did. All of those things will have happened. Emails will have exchanged before I finally put something here. Because what I don't want something is, I don't want, like something maybe rejected. Yeah. You don't want your change to be rejected. It's not something that you usually want to be seen in your report. You must have discussed something with the client. After you have discussed and it's called via email has been exchanged, then things are now be agreed, then you now communicate it. You now put it in your change log because those things have been discussed. Those are the things that make to the change log. But in your trend log, whether approved, rejected, small, big, you capture everything there. Does that make sense? If you're confused, please ask me, please. I'll explain again. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If it makes sense, please, I want to see a thumbs up, please. This, like I said again, this is a practical thing, and these are things that you will see in your project every day. These are there. You will see them. You will see them. I can assure you. So thanks, Sister Joke for that question. When we talk about cost, I'm still going to drill down. Maybe that's why I dealing with. I was just trending along that trend log side. So that's fine. Okay. So Joke, are you okay?
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Validating scope. So what does validating scope means? So it means to get formal acceptance, basically. So as you are executing your scope, as project is going on, it's important that you don't wait till the end of the project before the project is formally accepted fully. And that's why the work breakdown structure is very important, or milestones are very important. When you finish one milestone, especially your payment might be dependent on milestones. If it's a lump sum project, like if you finish this stage, we'll pay you. If you finish this stage, we'll pay you. So what I mean is that you want to, before you move to the next stage of the project, you want to check with the client if they are okay with what you have done so far. And it's not verbal, it's through document. Okay, we have done with this milestone 1. Can you confirm it's okay? If it's fine, and they'll come and check, and there'll be a formal acceptance of that milestone that you can proceed to the next one. So validation means getting formal documented acceptance of completed deliverables from your customer or stakeholder. Without it, dispute might arise later. This is very important. Get validation, especially maybe certain things as you're progressing on the scope. You think that client might starting saying things later, or you've told them about certain things and they feel like, oh, that's the way they want it, but professionally you feel that they should do it the other way, but they feel that it should be done this way. Document it, and after you have done that particular thing, send a document for them to accept it, to sign, okay, we are okay with what you've done, and they will sign it. Then they can't come back later and tell you, no, we don't like this. It is what they ask you to do and you have done. It's very, very important. You know, uh, I put something there. Without it, this problem might arise later. I never said this was good enough, even when the work was done correctly. Acceptance is based on acceptance criteria. This is part of your scope. When you're scheduling scope, one of the things we define. Sorry, I didn't mention this with and depending on the kind of project, usually acceptance criteria is defined by what the client asks you to do, and by the time you have described your exclusions and assumptions, all of this will have been taken care of. So we have done this, we have done this, we have done this, we have done this. The client signed it. So all of the validation checklist, that you might create a checklist. Usually, the client will send certain all of this into you, things that they consider that this will be accepted if this is done. So that's validation checklist. Usually it comes from the client. So you are ticking all of those boxes and client is signing on it that is an accept. So this is very important as you progress. So again, it depends on the kind of project you are doing. This might not be applicable to every project, but for construction projects, of course, this is very important. When you're working on, I work on a civil project, and for everything that we do, before you move to the next thing, somebody has to come and sign quality check. You don't move to the next until a quality person signs on something. For example, I tell you, for example, we are doing pavement, and iron bars have been put in there. There are regulations required surrounding iron bar. You just don't call the client, hey, we have done pavement. The client will not see the iron bar that you already put concrete on. How am I sure that the metal you put inside the iron bar is the correct thickness? So when you have done the iron bar, you call the quality person to come and check, confirm that what the iron bar that we put there is the thickness that we agreed. That's part of the checklist, acceptance criteria. We promise that we're going to use 3 mm thick of iron bar, and that's also somebody come and check and validate it and check yes what they put there, because at the end of that, when you finish, those things will not be seen, right? It will not be seen. So how do you prove it? So those are the kind of validation checklists that must be done. Somebody come and sign, or it's 3 now when you want to pour the concrete, one of the things that in Canada, because of the cold, cold, hot kind of temperature, there must be a temperature that must be reached before you can pour cement on the iron bar, for example. I think maybe 4 degrees or something. I can't remember right now. But what you do is that in very cold times, when winter is falling, you have to cover it with what? It's some tarpaulins. I'm sure you must have seen it around Calgary when they are building houses. You just see at the parking lot, you just see them, they cover the house with tarpaulin. It's a regulation just to keep the place warm. They will put heater inside to warm the place. So there must be a temperature that must be attained before you can pour. So somebody come and check again that before you pour that cement, the temperature was actually that. Somebody will sign. So if you go ahead and pour cement without anybody checking that in, somebody can tell you, no, I'm not accepting it. How can you prove to me that you poured that cement when it was 4 degrees? How can you prove to me that is what? So it now becomes something difficult to prove. It now becomes an issue. So this is very, very important. Understand the acceptance criteria that surrounds the kind of job you are doing, and check with the client before you proceed. Does this make sense? If it makes sense, give me a thumb up, please.
I have a question though.
Please.
Yeah, the question is, as a project manager, you may not have experience about all these the various subject areas that you'll be working on. You did mention the fact about the temperature. Is it your duty to understand all those technical nuances around, or are you going to be advised by somebody? For example, the experts who are working on the concrete, the bricklayers, and all of those, are they not supposed to be the one to advise you on the temperature? Then you approve or otherwise, or if they make the mistake, and you are not a technical project manager. You are just an administrative, if I can put it that. So if they make the mistake as the subject matter technical expert, Who takes responsibility?
Thanks for that question. First of all, you are the project manager of the job. So at the end of the day, all responsibilities still falls on your hand because you are the project manager of that job. Now, when it comes to technical matters, there are people you are leaning on for technical expertise. What you just want to make sure you are doing as part of your being a PM is that you want to ensure that the technical person is doing their job. Now, it's your duty to read through the scope statement and to read through all of the specifications required for that project, even though you might not understand it. So it's not your duty to really fully comprehend all of those things. You are leaning on the technical people to do all of those things. But there's a project checklist usually that you things that has to be done, and this is where it has to be done in the project that you have to have that uh, as a project manager, and that usually you will have for technical project like that, you will have that will have been developed between you and the technical person. You're not the one developing it. The technical person will develop it. You understand? These are the things that will be done. And when they develop that, you send that to the client. You understand? If that criteria is not coming from the client, usually sometimes the client will have developed that criteria. Things have to be done. You understand? So your duty is to get the technical person to sign off on all of those things. Do you understand? So all of this temperature thing, quality check that has to be done. Usually, most of the time, big client, they will have sent all of those things. They will send all of those things to you. One of your duties, you have to read through it, at least have an understanding of those things. The technical people, they will read through it and they will accept it. Okay, all of these things are doable. Those are the things that comes with your proposal. When you are trying to understand the scope of the project. Okay, all of this has to be done, has to be done, has to be done. Your technical team will have looked at it and they will have agreed to it that everything there is what is doable. We're able to do it. So once that is done, so that doc will become a working document, a checklist for your project. Now, as the job is done, the technical person will have to be signing. That's you just need to ensure that what they look at it, and once they say they are done, you are now picking up that all of the specifications, and they are signing in of that they've done it, they've done this, they've done this, they've done it. And that's how you cover your own self to make sure that the person will have to put his name and sign. And usually these people are professionals; they have their license, and nobody wants to jeopardize their license. You understand? So how you cover yourself is that they just need to just start ticking. And again, for this kind of project I mentioned to you is you as a project manager, you will have known that before. One of the things that before we can move from to pour concrete, somebody has to sign off on this. You will know that it's part of the things you have read that before we can pour concrete, certain things have to be done. All of those things will have been listed in your quality document. So you are just reading to it and just making sure, hey, if you have a quality manager, that's very good for you. Quality manager, please, can you sign off on this document? So the quality manager usually are technical people. They'll pick it up and start asking questions. Hey, you have not done this, or has this been done? Has this been done? So yours is just to be make sure you read through the project document, understand what needs to be done and who needs to do it. All of the checklist that has been developed by the client, make sure that everything is ticked. So your checklist is actually what helps you to cover everything that needs to be done, even though you don't have a technical knowledge of those things. Your technical project manager is usually your leaning point, and usually that will have a license, and they don't want their license to be destroyed. So usually they will sign up. So to answer your question straight off, you use the project specification, which has to be signed, because that's what it has to be signed before you move on to the next milestone. And usually, who signs that is what is the technical word. The technical project person will sign, and usually you don't sign that if you have a quality person. But if it's a small company, so what they do is that your project manager automatically becomes the quality manager. If you don't have a quality manager, you automatically become the quality manager, and you have to sign that document. But you don't have much power because who they are going to blame if everything goes wrong is the person that has license. You understand? A licensed person must sign it, because that's the person that's going to lose license. Who is the engineer that signed off on this thing? That's what somebody's going to ask. And someone like me who is not technical in most of the project I do, usually you'll see them. I'll show you some study document. You'll see professional engineer, professional for that reviewed You understand? By a professional, and the person will sign off. And there's usually statements that I put them as, as a review, as a professional engineer. I review this thing and ensure that, because that is by law, that is the duty. It must be signed off by what? Somebody who is a professional. My duty as a project manager is to ensure that the person, to make sure, okay, confirm from the person that, okay, the person has done his job. But in terms of who carries the full final brunt, at the end of the day, if things goes wrong, is that you will have covered your own end, because you've ensured that the guy signed up on all the specifications. You've asked him, and he has confirmed that he has checked. Once you have done that and you have signed up on those documents, you have no problem. If things goes wrong, they will come after the engineer or the professional. It's as simple as that. So you don't need to worry. Your job is just to make sure that everything that needs to be done in terms of document specification check is done. And once you have done all of those, that you are well, to paradise. Does that make a little bit of sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Clear criteria. So, okay, I just put a simple something here. That's what we have been doing. Acceptance confirmed for the event thing that we did a role play for the other time. Event held on the agreed date. Minimum of 80% of registered participants attended. Average satisfaction rating. Training report delivered within 5 working days. Your HR or whoever is giving you that thing to do in the office will have tell you, okay, this is the KPI that we're going to set. We're going to mark you by to judge the success. Not necessarily you, just to judge the success of the project. Okay, this project is actually what successful, and things. And these are things you said from the beginning. How do we rate that this project is successful? And if we don't meet any of these criteria, then we'll do a lesson learned. Usually, a lesson learned will be done to look at, do you meet this criteria? And if we didn't meet it, how can we do better? It's not a wish hunting game. It's to get things better for the future. I want us to really get to schedule management, because I have that already scheduled for today. But if we don't get to that, we'll start with that next week. I have that already prepared for today. I was thinking we're going to rush through this, but I just realized that I need to really drill my time on this one. Okay. I want us to do a mini. Maybe that's what we'll do, and we'll round up with that. I'm going to run through this slide, but not now. I want everyone now. Let me see. This is what I want us to do. So I want us to think of a project. Forget about, don't look at this one that is on scope. This is something I just put together, and I'll run through it when we are done with our own exercise. So I want everyone to think of a project, and think of a project, maybe a project that you may involve in. Go to ChatGPT, Google, whatever you want to use. Define out what that project is, and ask ChatGPT to create for this project. Let me create what is in scope and what could be out of scope for this project, and help me identify where there could be scope creep. So look at what I put here. What the items belong clearly in scope. So everybody going to have their own project. Come up with things that are what. Ask ChatGPT to help you go create a scope for the project. Help you identify 3 things that may be out of scope and that can be deferred to a later phase, and identify 2 realistic scope creep scenarios that could derail this project. Does that make sense? So you are going to create your own project. Just think about the project. Not something so big. Create a scope. Ask ChatGPT to create a scope for it, and ask ChatGPT to out of that scope, can you create what is in scope and what is out of scope, and help me identify for this project scenario. Help me identify where there could be scope creep. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, so you give me a thumb up. If not, give me the thumb. Just raise up your hand if it doesn't make sense. Oh, no response. Okay, 1. It makes sense. 1. I want to see everybody. Please put your thumbs up there. I want to see that. 2, 3. Shirima, Ayrim, does it make sense? Okay, that makes sense. Taiwo Assisi, does it make sense? Come on, guys, it makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to give us, how many minutes do we need to do this? 15 minutes, is that okay? We are using ChatGPT. I just want us to just uh develop that faith of, for everything you are doing a project, there will definitely certain things that by the nature of that project, there will be certain things that might not be captured in the scope, and you must be able to visualize things like that for small projects. But for the ones that you are not even knowledgeable about, this is where you work with the technical people, for them to confirm from them. They will look at it, and you want to tell them to explicitly tell you to write down things that is not out of scope. And usually those things come from experience. It comes from experience, and it's the technical people that will help you do all of those things. Okay, this is what the clients have asked us to do. And most of the time, when clients send you, if the client is sending you a scope document, they will put what in scope, and in the scope, what they are sending to you, they will always also put them. This is excluded. You are not to do this. They will tell you what to do, and they will tell you what you are not doing. They will tell you, but you now have to now look at it and ask for clarifications, and from those things you now begin to write your assumptions out, like, okay, this is what we are going to do, but we have some assumptions that, okay, we expect this to be done or this will be done. So please, quickly, can we do this in 50 minutes? Is that okay?
It's okay, but I have a suggestion, just so that we can, because if we do it individually, there'll be no avenue to review
I
everybody's
I I
response.
I I agree with you. Okay, so
And we won't know if we are right or we are wrong or what we didn't
okay,
do right. So can
okay.
we do it in a group so that we can
I,
review
I,
those
I,
outcomes?
I completely agree with you. So I'll do two breakout room then. Is that fine?
Yes, yes, sir. It's okay.
Okay. I'll assign create two breakout rooms, and I'll give us, is 15 minutes okay?
If we can make it 20, so that
Okay, that's 20 minutes. Okay, all right. I'll open your rooms. We'll meet in 20 minutes. Mm.
Mommy went somewhere.
Okay, welcome back. How was it? How was the session? Did we finish?
Yes, finished.
Okay, so who wants to present first?
Well, I can go ahead. Just a minute.
Okay, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. Yeah. Can you see my screen? Hold on. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes,
Okay. So, the title of our project was
he didn't.
to.
He didn't even copy it into. This is not good. It's just you're still showing me ChatGPT. Like, are you not supposed to put this in a Word document or something like that? Yeah.
Okay, that's noted. Next time we'll do that. Sorry about that. So,
Because if you are doing this, that means you didn't actually work on it. The essence of using AI is not just to copy things, garbage things like that. You copy, you're supposed to take it the Word document, and that's where you begin to review. Okay, this does this make sense? Or they're just still showing me exactly. You're just telling me what ChatGPT tell you. I'm not like. Do you understand what I'm saying at all?
yeah, that's not what you're saying. Okay, it's noted.
So what have we done in 20 minutes?
No, in 20 minutes, we're able to agree on a project.
Okay,
We at the same time we looked at what ChatGPT offered.
okay,
Then we know what we are, if it's in concert with what we want. Then we and of course we are agreed on what I'm going to elaborate on here. Like I'm not going to go into the details here.
okay,
I'm just going to highlight the main points.
okay,
That's what I would have done if
okay,
I had copied it. So basically, our project is to develop a scope for the supply and installation of washroom features,
okay.
highlighting three things in scope, three
Mm,
things possibly out of scope,
mm.
and two possible scope creeps.
Okay,
So we identified that, okay, uh, we identified three things: the supply for the washroom, what the features in the washroom should be. Then the second one is the installation, and the third one is the supply and installation of accessories. Those are the things that are in scope. Now, we identified things that are out of scope: structural modification or electrical system upgrades, and then maybe major plumbing line relocation. So those are the three things that were identified. Now, for our possible scope creep, uh, we realize that oftentimes there's always exclusion that's crafted in the scope, that if any of those exclusion is tabled, then we can always refer to that original scope, and then um, let it be clear that including those exclusion, which will serve as scope creep, will uh, result to change order. So two possible scope creep that we realize is upgrade request after procurement. So sorry.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe in terms of they want a designer mirror. Of course, mirror is part of what would have been there before, but maybe there's a fancy type that the client wants. Then we know that, okay, that's a possible
okay,
scope creep, or maybe a sensor
okay,
operated
okay,
faucet.
okay.
So
I think we can stop here. I think
okay,
we get the groove of what I'm trying to get us to achieve. Yeah. Let me hear the second group before I make my comment.
okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
that. Thank you for
Okay.
your effort. Okay, who's going for the second group? Okay, okay.
A quick question before we go to second group.
Yes, please.
When in an ideal situation every day, when you receive a project approval and you are to start, are you the one that will conceptualize what could be out of scope? Or how do you determine that? Because that's what we've been doing.
Okay, so yeah, so it's you and stakeholder. The stakeholder, I mean you and your project team. So
So you just think through it in
you
your head and
so
begin to come up with things
no
that
no
could be
no
out of
no
scope.
no 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 no. You and your project team. I just say you and your project team. So you and your project team. Okay, a client sent you a scope statement. So some client will have told you this is out of scope. Most of my projects that I do for big project anyway, we will say out of scope items. Some will not put out of scope items. Now, when you receive, I think I've explained this, but I'll still explain it again. Like you look at the scope, and based on experience, and I keep using that word experience, there is, or not even experience, or maybe based on your knowledge of the job, you are you look at what the client have asked you to do, and there's something called scope clarification that must be done. Scope clarification. The scope clarification that you now begin to ask a certain thing that the client asks you to do. You want to understand in deep what that client asks you to do in particular. So I'm trying to get example that will not be too technical for us. Maybe a client asks you to uh, uh, help me build a staircase in my house. And so every big staircase is so vague. You understand? The Bible. So the question they want to ask is that okay, this scope, okay, how big do you want? How wide do you want this staircase to be? That's a scope clarification. Okay. Now this staircase, do you want me to put what kind of floor? Vinyl floor, a rug, what kind of carpet do you want me to put there? Do you want to put a safety barrier? Do you want me to put a design? You are clarifying those things. So those clarifications. So the client, when you because based on your experience of what can be done, you are now asking further questions. The client will ask, no, I don't want this, I don't want this. So those clarifications kind of now generate things that are in scope because the client now say, okay, no, do this, no, do this. So explicitly, you now have what is in scope, out of scope. So that's one way you generate in scope and out of scope. One way. If the client have sent a very robust scope document where they've said it in scope, out of scope, they will have told you. So you now have what is in scope or out of scope. In responding back to the client, you will also, those things that they call in scope, by the time you start creating your assumptions on things, and I think I've explained assumptions, things that you think maybe everybody should know that you're putting down that, in your response back to the client. Some of those things might come back as what? In scope. The client might, okay, no, do this or don't do this. Then in those assumptions, what you have, stylishly told the client is that this is out of scope. More or less like we assume that you will do this. So you are stating that. So in summary, reviewing of scope is a team effort, especially when you are not even technical about the project you want to go and manage. You are not an expert is there. There is a technical expert there that's going to sit down with the whole of the team, and you are just there just to facilitate that meeting where they will look at that scope and they are asking questions based on experience, based on project they've executed. Okay, this is what they want us to do. Oh, they didn't state in this scope whether they want to do this. So you note that down. And all of those things will be coming from expert judgment, from experience. Oh, this is not clearly stated yet that they want to do this. So never assumed for the client that the client wants to do something. That's what all of those things are all about. Because it's not clearly stated there, you note it down and you get clarification whether it's going to be done or not. Or you clearly put it there since it's not stated and you exclude it. And if you also want to add it, there's something called options. When I suggest something, maybe you want to do something with how will I put it now? Uh, my kind of project I do, there are certain places we might access through there's something called UAV, UTV kind of vehicles, that all those kind of rugged vehicle motorcycle they use on rocky stuff that we might be able to assess that terrain through those rocky UTV, or is it UTV or UAV now? I've forgotten the name now. Is that UAV machines that you drive that can climb, some steepy terrain. Some terrain might be so steepy that I'm unable to assess the location. You might have to use a helicopter to get there. So when we are not too sure, you might quickly put, okay, we'll assess this area with a UTV. This is the cost. Optional, we might use an helicopter. That's a kind of, one we are giving client option. But in terms of like, to answer your question straight, scope exclusion, what is excluded is a team word, is a team discussion whereby everybody sit down together, review the scope together, itemize everything that needs to be done, and based on what your experience, you clearly say this is not going to be done, this is not going to be done, this is going to be done, and all of that. Let me highlight again, is coming from expert knowledge. Not, if you're not an expert in that area, then you leave the for people to clearly, you know, state what's going to be done. And what helps you to another thing that helps you to determine what is out of scope is your budget. It's your what? Your budget. Yes, when you're submitting budget, you are submitting budget based on what you want to do. Well, what you want to do is what determines the cost. So you are stating there, we are doing this, we are doing this, we are doing this, we are doing this, we are doing this for this amount, because that's what determines your cost. Is what you are doing that determines the cost. And right there, even when you send it back to the client, even though you have not put what is out of scope there, by the time you start, this is what we are doing, or state it very clearly, this is what we are doing very clearly. The client might tell you, okay, what about this? What about this? What about this? So that ordinary immediately have captured, oh, sorry, that is not included, or oh, sorry, we will cover that, because sometimes might not even be written down, whereby you've assumed, and that's why sometimes a lot of things might not be fully written down in your head. Oh, you're not responding back to the client, hey, it's part of what we're going to do at no extra cost, but it's from experience, you be able to you get better in actually determining what is in scope. So to answer your question summary again, because I'm just beating about the bush right now, is like it's a team effort to determine what is in scope and what is not in scope, and this comes from you reading what the client has sent to you, understand it very well, and from experience judge whether there are certain things the client is missing out that you guys think should be done, but the client have not requested for. So you might put that as out of scope. And before you even put it out of scope, sometimes you might want to kind of send emails with the client and ask the client, are you not doing this? Are you not doing this? Are you not doing this? And you're asking that question because of your experience. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. So when you do all of those, it's after you have done all of those and fine-tune everything before you send your bill.
Oh yes, definitely. Okay. So after you have fine-tuned all of those things, so at the end of the day, we are going to finally now agree this is what we are doing finally. So that's the scope that everybody is saying. So okay, now after all of those discussion, so there will now be that scope document whereby you sign and everybody agreed, and it could even be via email. So this is what we are doing. We are doing this, doing this. We are not doing this. It's not covering this. It's not covering that. That email is sent and the client agreed to it, and then you can start firing on, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to determine your cost.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So exactly. It's after those agreements that you now begin to talk about cost and send the cost of bill to the client.
Exactly. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Yinkar, it's 11 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
We couldn't get to schedule management today. Okay, let's go ahead. I have some okay. No, it's all right.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, yes. We have like 3 projects in our group. One on
in 20 minutes. Go ahead.
One on service, one on telecom. So we just agreed to go with this.
Okay.
On telecommunication. So the overall scope is to design and deploy a DWDM ring network. Okay, this might sound too technical. Just look at it as if you are deploying.
That's fine. Just go ahead.
Like designing, trying to deploy a pipeline across Alberta. Just thinking in that aspect. Okay. So what we are focusing on the core backbone connectivity, the ring protection, and the scalability.
Okay.
Then for the in-scope, these are what is in the in-scope. Build ring connection between Calgary, Edmonton, and Red Deer back to Calgary. So that's the ring topology, fiber route and validation and link engineering. And some of those things still in its scope is the equipment you need to use to deploy that project, like the MUX, channel provisioning and optical power balancing. Those are part of the in-scope. And again, network protection. What do you have for protection on the infrastructure? If you are doing the gas pipeline, or in this case, DWDM, what kind of protection are you putting in? If there's a cut, how will the customer be protected service-wise? So what are out of scope that can be deferred to phase 2 is when you want to do a dynamic wavelength routing, meaning that what we are deploying now is more like semi-mechanical. When there's issue, you go to site, you fine-tune the amplifier, blah, blah. But when you get to phase 2, we can deploy advanced ROADM, but that can, without you getting to site, can dynamically fine-tune itself. So that can be in the phase 2, and then applying software.
Just pause a moment. Yeah. So I think that is very important. Like, well, when you are mentioning phase 2, and I think everybody needs to pay attention to this. When those things are listed out of scope, you're not telling the client that it's not doable. You're not telling the client that you're not doing it. That is not the whole essence of what you are communicating. You are not. So what you are saying is that, oh, based on what you've sent to us, this is what we are doing right now, and based on our experience, and again, because you mentioned, because of the kind of nature of this kind of project, there's a scalability that is also involved. There's also, I'm sure we all understand what I mean by scalability, like the ability for you to expand and improve on your project. And also because it's a really high technical project, there are certain things that needs to be done right now that we don't want to involve this at this right now. Is because of experience or technical experience or whatever it is. It is important that we do this right now. Then the next thing cannot come in the phase 2. So scope right now, the scope does not cover this, but it can be done later. So you are giving options to the client. The client might not decide, okay, no, I want you to do everything together, but you are not telling the client you are not doing it. That's not what you are trying to communicate. You are just saying, okay, within the framework of the budget, of the schedule, this is what we are doing right now. But we identify that this is a way of you creating business for yourself also. More business for you. This needs to be done, but it can be done in phase 2. So you are telling the client, so it's another way of creating money for your company. So please go ahead, sir.
Oh, okay. So for the out of scope, defer to phase 2, applying SDN to the network, making it dynamic without human intervention. And then again, we can also connect smaller towns or rural areas. They are not, we can do that, but right now it's not there, because once you put that in, the cost will improve, the number of labor you need will increase. So for now, this is what we are doing. But later we can bring that in. And also last mile or access layer to the end customer. That is not part of it right now. Then deep system integration with the BSS system or advanced AI fault prediction. This can be added later in phase 2. But this is what we can do. Yeah, then the creep part, these are all the creeps in the project.
Beyond calling. Okay, that's fine. I think the message have been passed here. So what I want us to take away, because I'm going to round up this session right now, is study your scope. When you receive scope, sit down with the people who have knowledge in those areas, your team. You have technical people, sit down and let them review the scope and get an understanding of what needs to be done. And if the clients are giving you a defined scope and they define what you are not doing, sometimes they want other people to do certain things. So they will have stated it there that this is not for you to do. So look at the things you've done and you are supposed to do, what they've asked you to do, and the thing that they said you are not going to do. And try to see, okay, are there other things from experience, the technical people, and those are the kind of questions you ask them. That are there any other things that you think that needs to be done on this project that is not captured here? Either in what the client has given to you and what the client has said, okay, this is not part of your scope. Because a very good company will tell you, do this. This is not part of your scope. These are the things you're going to do, but these are the things you will not do. So you look at the things they ask you to do and the things they've told you you're not doing. So when you merge those two together, you want to see, okay, are there other, so you ask the technical people, are there other things that you guys think needs to be done on this project that is not stated by the client? from experience, and they'll be able to tell you, okay, I think, oh, everything is captured. I think other people, they've stated that other people are doing it. It's not stated as scope, but other people are doing it. Other people are doing it. And if there are other things they feel like, okay, it's still missing, then you note those things down, and those are the things you seek clarifications for. So after those back and forth clarifications between the client, there's something called scope clarification. It's also usually in the spreadsheet. We call it scope clarification. Create a document. This. We're asking questions, and the client will respond back in that same document. So it become a contractual document. You'll respond back in that document. No, do this, back and forth. So when eventually we've agreed on that scope, what is out of scope, we confirm, send document, everybody sign. Of course, parallel, you are checking your budget. Sending budget to them. Okay, based on this is what's going to cost. This, and you agree on budget. So your budget is not tied to scope. Scope agreed for, then you're creating a schedule, and budget will be created, and all of those things will be locked in. So it's an iterative process, and it's something that, like I said again, you don't have to be too rigid. You have to be flexible enough to understand what the client. Also think from the angle of adding value to the client. Also be thinking of how can you create more business for your company when you're handling those projects. Like the example that Mr. Inka shared, phase 2, we've identified certain things. Yes, now it might cost more if we bring all of those things into phase 1, but we can do phase 1 right now, and things can start going on. Value will have been created, so the client does not need to worry, though, even though it's not done right now. At least phase 1 will deliver some level of value. So the client is saying, okay, phase 2, all of this thing can be done in phase 2. So you're adding value to the client. This can be done in phase 2. 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 And if the client has the capacity to bring that in, if it does not have any technical, there's no technical constraint why it cannot be done right now, then it can move ahead and do it. So that's the way of adding value to the client. So please, the whole idea is, please note this. Have this that scope management is very, very important. So that everybody is clear on what needs to be done and what is not going to be done. This is very important. This is one key aspect, is if not the most important aspect of your work as project manager, to understand scope. And note that you'll not be working alone to determine what is out of scope and what is not in scope. You will need the knowledge of the word of the technical people, the people that will do the job, the technical people to finalize scope. And of course, when you are creating the budget, you're going to need them for the budget to create to create the cost. It's a team effort. It's not just an effort. You are just more of the time, you are just facilitating, coordinating, and making sure that everything is asking the right questions. Basically, is this covered? Are you able to do this? Do we need extra? And can we do it in this time? Do you think this budget is enough? Are there any other things that you are reading through the scope statement that they've sent to you? Even though you don't understand, you're asking those questions. What do they mean by this? What do they mean? You're asking a lot of questions. What does the client mean by this? What does the client mean by this? And the technical people will be explaining to you, this is what this means, this is what it means, this is what it means. From those answers, the lot of things understanding you will get, that will come to you, and things that you document, things that you see further clarifications for, and things that you be able to follow up on later. So basically what left in the slide is just an example, and I think you guys have captured all of those. It's just a case study, just to follow the same pattern you guys have followed basically. Now, so practical checklist for your next project, just to round up. Please, clear problem statement, agree scope statement. Do you have a clear problem opportunity statement? Does everyone agree on why this project exists? You understand? Like, this is when a client sent you to do something. What the problem statement is basically about is for you to understand what the client wants to do, because this is what makes you to know what is out of scope and what is not in scope.
You're not sharing the slide.
Oh my God, sorry about that. I thought I was okay. I lost the sharing the other time. Okay, so I'm showing. Can you see my screen right? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes.
So I put a clear problem statement. Basically means you understanding what the client is trying to do. You trying to understand the client to do is what helps you to determine, things that might be out of scope. So client have asked you to do certain things, but when you understand what the client wants to do, and based on experience, you might start thinking, okay, the client did not ask me to do this, but this might be needed, this might be needed, this might be needed, this might be needed. So those are the things you now ask client for clarification. Are you not doing this? Are you not doing this? Are you not doing it? The client might not come back, oh, we are not doing it. So it becomes out of your scope that you are going to list it because the client has confirmed they are not doing it. You list it, this is not going to be done, this is not going to be done, it's going to be done. So it's this understanding of what the client is trying to do, which I call the problem statement, is what makes you to further understand. Your technical team will want to further understand what is out of scope. So we talk about WBS after the scope have been agreed. Then you can now start breaking down your scope into what we call the work breakdown structure, change control process. I mentioned that. How am I going to, if things begin to change down the line, the client is adding for more scope, how are we going to manage that process? How are we going to communicate it? I've talked about the trend log that you do internally, change log that you maintain with the client to show what has been, approved and what is still pending in terms of the change order you submitted to the client. And one of the things I did explain is this, please. It's not a good project management practice for client to reject your change order. And one of the reasons why client reject change order is because you have not had conversation with the client. You are just sending a format document. Hey, I'm submitting a change order of $1 million because I'm doing this scope, extra scope. No, you don't work that way. That might sound it might look as if you are very, very serious, but it doesn't work. It derails things. You discuss things with client via phone, emails, letting them know things that might, things that are happening, things that might cost more money or more schedule. All of those conversations will have gone via phone, via email. So it's only when things have been agreed and client have discussed, argue things, and they finally agreed. You now, I have a couple of emails like that I would love to show. Now your client will now ask you, okay, please send your change order. So when you get that final, send your change order, then you can now initiate your change order document. I will show us. Did I show us that before? No, I've not shown. I will show us what the change one. Just an example of a change order. I think I have the one. Do I have that saved somewhere? Just a minute. Let me see if I have that in my folder already. I don't have that in this week folder. I'll show us that later. Just a document to show. Then once that change order is submitted, that's when you now document into that this change log. That's what enters into your change log. Basically, you send it and you document it. There's a number, the change order number. If it's a change order one, depending on your company's, there will be a format to the company. I will number the change orders. Change order one, change order two. There'll be a document number attached to it. So every organization have their processes for this. So understand the organization change order processes, and usually for big projects, for some project, clients will have sent you, change all their change management process. This is how we do change management. And they'll tell you for change management, this is the process that must be followed. So you as a PM must understand that what is the change management process of the client, and you look at it and you want to follow it. So these things will be agreed, prior to the project starting. So yeah, acceptance criteria defined. You want to understand what's defined in IT project. This is very, very important. There's something called done, and there's something called done. Like yeah, like this thing is done, and when they say done, like it's finally on our side is done. When they say done, client have finally agreed agreed to it. That you are done does not mean the client has finally done with that particular scope item. So what defines the source of the frame must be clearly defined, and it's basically the scope. You asked me to do this. He asked me to build the house to this standard, 2-bedroom, 4-bedroom of this. So there must be project has an end. So there must be something that signifies that this has been done. So usually in IT project is always, you'll have stated this, deliver on this date, on this date, on this date. And when all of those things are done, acceptance criteria has been done, then, everybody's signed off. I think I've talked about you signing off on things. Then, so please, these are the things you take note, in your project. And if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. I'll be able to, and if you have a project that you are doing, and please feel free to reach out to me. If there are clarifications or things that you need to understand, please feel free to me and I'll share my own thoughts with you on how you can better handle those things. So that's that about scope management. The next thing is that we're going to look at I have that already. I'm going to look at what's it called. Where's that? Scope. I'm going to look at schedule management, and that's the next thing we are looking at. Sorry, just 1 minute. Schedule management is the next thing we're going to look at next week. I thought we were going to get into that today, but apparently there was no time. We're going to look at schedule management and how to just some things that are theoretical but might not be really needed, because when I say not really needed, you must have understanding of it. You must have understanding of it as a project manager. You must. But when you begin to work practical, there are not things that you'll be doing, maybe calculating manually, but you still need them, really, in some of your projects, to have an understanding of how you manage your schedule, especially when it comes to durations. If things are falling over, how can you bring them back to track? It's only when we have done schedule that we can start talking about cost, because and I'll explain to you the reason why schedule has to come before cost. Yeah. I'm going to explain that later. Yeah, sometimes some people do it, but for a big project, or for you to better capture your project very well, it's important that you have your schedule. It gives you a very good idea of your cost, especially for construction project. Schedule is important to build first, high level at least, then because sometimes it might determine how you manage resources or how you split resources, which might affect your cost. All right, thank you everyone. Do we have any question?
Yeah, I have a question,
think
sir.
I raised my hand.
Okay. All right, let's go for it. Let's wait for.
I have a question, sir.
Please go ahead, man. First of all, you go ahead.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all the you're doing. And in the course of your lecture, I think you mentioned something about scalability and agile. I just want to know the difference and then the similarities between them, because I think they have the same scope. Yeah, I think they do the same thing, but just clarify them for me.
Sorry, what you said? Scalability and what again?
Agile.
Agile.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So agile project, agile is one of the ways we manage our project. I think we discussed about when we started about the traditional way of managing projects and the agile method of managing project. And I talk about the agile mentality. So agile in general, when we talk about things like Scrum, Kanban, things that the frameworks that are used to deliver agile project, one of those things that you have to think about is the scalability is one of the characteristics of agile. Agile projects are scalable, and one of the mentality of agile is scalability. So what am I saying there is that scalability is when you are doing a project, one of the things you are factoring into that project is that this project I'm doing right now, agile mentality. Don't forget that agile is a methodology. Like we have traditional, the waterfall. Now there are different frameworks for delivering it. That's where Scrum comes in, Kanban, all of those things comes in. But one of the features of agile is that a project must think of scalability of the project. If I'm doing a project, I'm thinking like, let me give you an example. I'm building a road. Back home, and most of us will understand what I'm talking about right now. Back home, they will build a community, and when they are building that community, they are not thinking about the next 100 years or the next 200 years or the next 50 years. And after 50 years, you now realize that, the road can no longer serve the people there. We need 4 lanes or 6 lanes. Now, because of the way the community has been built, it now becomes so difficult to expand into 4 lane or 6 lane. You understand? So what people do is they have to destroy people's houses. For example, those of us that lived in Lagos, we've seen this. So what happens is that there's no agile thinking in all of those in all of those things. And the agile thinking there is a scalability. Because if somebody has thought that, okay, even though we are not doing 6 lane now, it's 2 lanes that we're going to do right now, can we build this thing in such a way that in the next 50 years we can come back and make 6 lanes? So that is the scalability, and it's an agile, feature, agile thinking. And that's one of the things that I think Mr. Inka mentioned when he was delivering his own on their project the other time. Talk about phase 2. So we are not doing this in phase 1 right now, but this can be done in phase 2. It doesn't stop the show, it doesn't stop the work, but we can do this right now. But there's something else that we already have in our mindset, that in phase 2 we can do this. So in phase 1 you already create room for that. So that is what that means. So yes, agile is just a general name that connotes all of these things. Another thing, apart from characteristics of agile being which is scalability, another thing is right now, this thing just skip me right now, is the ability to and in fact it works from the word agile to multitask things. In traditional method, what happens is that one thing must finish before the other starts. That's the way, traditional method of project management things. Finish to start to finish, or start to start, or finish to start, finish to finish. We'll look at those things in our schedule management. But in agile doesn't think that way. Agile feels that, hey, can this be done? Even though I understand that, you need to finish this before this can start, but is there a way whereby I can start, even though, now look at my hand, this needs to finish before this can start, but is there a way I can start some things even though this one has not finished? Is there a way I can start doing something in this one that, even though this one has not finished, is there a way I can start doing something here right now that when this one is just finished, then I can fully begin this one, and that shortens times for me? That's an agile thinking. So just to answer your question very straight away, yeah, agile is a general name, but scalability is part of one of the agile way of thinking. Does that make a bit of sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
All right. So we'll stop here. Oh, sorry. Robertson, please, can you go ahead with your question, sir, please?
Okay, just a question around change management.
Okay.
I just want to understand, change management comes in because of introduction of maybe you have been working on a project, that's my understanding, and the client comes up with something they want you to do that was not part of the initial agreement. Then you can discuss with them. After you have reached a compromise, you raise a change management, change whatever you request to accommodate that and put in the new cost to it. Is that the process?
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why a change management happens. If you look at, I think what I shared the other time, that document, let me see if I can just share it again. See, can you see this, what I put here? Requested by?
Yes, I can see it.
I should not be showing all of this name of this company. I'll just take that away. So, requested by, I can see different names there. So that change could come from the client. The client requested for what? For it. But it could also come from you guys too.
Okay.
So it's not only the client that initiates change. It could be you guys, as you're working on that project, event happens that you feel that, okay, things can be done better. You don't feel that things can be done better, or maybe something is not doable again. Things can not happen in the project. So it's coming from you guys' end. So you guys are initiating and not telling the client, hey, can we do this? Or maybe as the project was going on, a problem was encountered that nobody foresaw. And you want to approach or use another process, use something, but it's not something that you have agreed with the client before. So you discuss that with the client, or the client agreed. That request comes from you, not from the client. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So coming from you does not mean it's going to be a cost on you. You understand? Different things can, can cost, a change, but it's not every time that it comes from the client. Sometimes it could come from you, maybe because of your professional judgment or something happened and you guys feel that, okay, instead of you going this route, it's better we go this route, and you're telling the client. And this is part of you offering professional judgment to the client, because you are the guys who knows more than the client in what you are doing. So so just to answer your question straight away, it does not come, it could come from what, either what,
okay.
either
I'm
part.
trying to remember something now. Could this be tied to, there is something they call, is it administrative, the contingency, whatever, that you have reserved some money. I've forgotten the time,
Okay, contingency budget. So
budget or something like that, you
so
have made to
okay,
be able to accommodate such
let's please let me hold that question down to when we start talking about cost and schedule.
Okay.
I'm gonna please, if I don't mention it next week, please remind. It's actually part of the things that I put in my in this slide that I'm showing us right now. Somewhere in that slide is captured there. It's something that you have to build into your schedule. Contingencies. You build contingency for time and also contingency for cost. And you do all of those things based on experience. And we're going to talk about it. Never mind.
I think if you don't mind, there are two kinds of that kind of budget, reserve budget, a contingency and one other one that. And depending on, so if we can touch on those when we are doing it. I know there is contingency. I've forgotten the term for the other one.
Have you joined the group? That group?
I think I don't know. I joined. So
okay, I'll check again. Please, please, let me put you, if you are joining that group, please let me put your name there, so I can see some nicknames there. Please, I don't want nicknames. Please put your name there, and all of those questions that you have, please put it there. Those things that you want us to talk about, just drop it in that group, so that yes,
all right,
we can even start talking about it before the time comes in. Then we'll expand it better. So please let me put it there. But rest assured, I'm going to touch on those things. Yes.
Okay, there's a question on the chat on.
Yeah, please, can you reshare the?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Please, can you reshare the group? Because I don't know.
I'll do that. Sorry, the week was also very, very busy for me. I wanted to. I'll do that again. I remember that I was supposed to do something, and I'll do that, sir. I'll do that, sir. Let me check the question again in the chat group. Sorry, my eyes is so blood right now. I've not slept. Is there any resume sample tailored to project management? Okay. I can share. There's no big deal. I can share my resume with you. It might be tailored towards. So there's no single resume. Like again, one of the things that I do. Okay. My company offers is I do. If you go to my website, you'll see it there. I do resume writing for people, and I charge for that. I also do LinkedIn optimization for people. We charge for that, and I do interview prep. I charge for that. Those are sort of things that I offer. So one of the things that you know that you cannot use is there's no single resume that goes for a particular. You cannot be using the same resume for the same project. At the level that I am right now, I don't need to tweak my resume so much, except if it depends again. It depends on if it's some kind of job that you see, you might need to really tweak it so much. But the whole principle is that you must adapt your resume to the job you're applying for. So when I see a job, you're looking at that job, looking at all the what they want you to do, and you're checking your CV. You're asking yourself one valid question: is everything on this job description captured in my resume? That's the starting point. So I can share my resume with you. That's not a big deal. Just remove my name, and remove my name and remove my companies and roles. So I'll share with you, and yeah. But please, it's one of the services that we render. Resume writing, LinkedIn optimization, interview prep. I do that a lot. Prepare you for interviews. If you have interview, can organize some sessions with you, look at the job, discuss it together, and some tips, especially in the area of project management. Yeah. So to answer that question,
the link to the community have not been shared. Can you share it right now so that you don't forget it?
The group, Abi?
Yes, I've looked through the chat. I didn't see it there, so I may not have joined if it's not there.
What I did.
You promised last week. I think due to your busy schedule, you forgot. So do it right now so that you don't forget it.
Yeah. Now you're getting me here right now. Like, I'm looking at this is the. So why are these 10 people that are joining this group here? Okay, Charity is here. See, huh? Because it was an email. Did you register through the website, sir? I'm trying to see. Let me just quickly. Where's that feature?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know I was muted. I registered through the link you sent to me.
Okay.
And when you sent us the coupon, is that what you meant?
I just want to be sure that your data is captured on the website. Because if your data is not captured there, maybe that's why you didn't get it.
I registered. I used the coupon. I did everything. And got a response.
Okay. I'll copy the link. I'll just send it right now. Thank you for because I have a meeting for 12 o'clock. There's somebody I have to be by 12 o'clock already. I'm technically late actually. That's why I'm trying to stand up. Okay. Can we all see? I've sent it to the. Can we all see it? Did you get? Yes. Did you get it?
Yes, sir. Yes, I've seen it.
Okay. Please, in the group. Let's join. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay. Apologies, I have to be somewhere by 12 o'clock. I'm already late.
Yes, sir. I understand, sir. I just want to one sentence.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, sometimes when we do change requests, it is not all of them that request to increase in cost to the budget.
Yes, sir.
It might even be that your company has to give a credit back to the client.
Thank you.
Based on that change request.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, please. So this thing you just said, can you go into the group and just start a discussion on that, please? These are what the group is meant for, basically. You can just create this, name it, change order, just create a topic, change order, and start talking about things about that. And people can start asking questions there. That's what the group is meant for.
All right,
I really appreciate that. Thank you for that. So that's what the group is meant for. Put a topic there, change order management, share your experience, share your thoughts, and let's start talking about it there. All right. Thank you, everyone. See us next week.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Bye.